Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023, and I'm not sure where this video is going to go. I have not practiced. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I just wanted to document what's going on in my life. And even if this is just for me, I just wanted to have it done. Just a little recap. On Monday, January 2nd, 2023, just a normal day. I was scheduled to work. I do still work. Well, I'm PRN now at North Oaks Hospital. I'm the main entrance desk receptionist. It is the perfect retirement job. I tell people all the time, I drink frozen coffee, talk to people, and I get paid. I mean, who can beat that? Now, I have been having fatigue and lightheadedness for a while, going to, I had a open heart surgery, I had a heart attack and open heart surgery October 2019. And my life has gotten pretty much back to normal, but not 100% because I do have congested heart failure. So I do have limitations. Personally, I think I'm over medicated. Prior to my heart attack, I went to one internist once a year. He handled all my medicine. Since I had the heart attack, I have an internist and five specialists. And thank God I'm in my right mind because in a lot of these specialists use nurse practitioners, which I think are great. But I go to one doctor and he prescribes medicine. Then I go to another doctor and he says, oh no, you can't take that, take this. And all five doctors have different opinions, and even within the same office. For instance, my cardiologist, he has two nurse practitioners who are really nice ladies. But I would go to, this is just recently, I would go to one and she would say, oh, I know why you're lightheaded. Take half of this medicine. Then 2 weeks later, I go and I see another nurse practitioner and she goes, oh, who cut that in half? That's important. No, take the full one, but just take half of this one. Then I would go to a kidney doctor and he would say, this medicine's affecting your kidney. You can't take this. Then I would go back to the cardiologist and he says, you can't live without this medicine. So it's like, it's really confusing, but I'm very excited because there's a geriatric doctor who just opened up in Hammond. She's young, and I made an appointment to go see her. And if you look at geriatrics, they are different than regular doctors. They take more time with you, they look at the whole picture. So in my mind, this geriatric doctor, she's going to look at these five specialists I go to, look at all my medicine, and I'm going to trust her. I'm going to see what she says and just stay on the regimen that she has for me. But getting back to my story, so on January 2nd, I got off I looked at the clock and it was time for me to get dressed for work. I got off my recliner. I walked to the kitchen and I was standing by my island. I had my tote bag that I take to work. I took one of my tablets, I put it in the tote bag. I had another tablet. I opened it up and I pressed the app, and that's the last thing I remember. I was not feeling bad. I was not lightheaded because I would tell the doctor, whenever I would feel faint or lightheaded, I would just sit down until it passed. Sometimes it passed in 5 minutes, sometimes it passed in a half an hour, but it was like I knew what my body was doing. Well, this particular day, I had no warning whatsoever. So I was dreaming there's a tent revival going on in Hammond, Louisiana right now. If you haven't been, you need. The pastor's name is D.R. Harrison. He's from Tennessee, and it's been going on for 10 weeks. It's usually on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's off of exit 35 of I-12, and it's Destination Boulevard, and it's that street to go to the camping place. And he's got this huge blue tent set up. It holds 2,200 people, and it is fabulous. Over 1,000 people have gotten saved. They have drug dealers are putting their drugs on the altar. People are getting reunited with estranged family members. It's just a wonderful, wonderful revival. So try to go. Well, when I was dreaming, I was at the tent revival because it's like I said, it's under a tent, and they had packed down a lot of sand and then they put wood chips on top of it. And the first time I went, I sat in the metal chair, and it sunk like that far in the sand. and and so it was very funny. In fact, Todd Shockley, the worship leader at Calvary, I was telling him that my chair sunk, and he says, I have a better story. When I sat in the chair, it sunk so far I was sitting on the wood chips. And so I was dreaming, I was at the tent revival, and I was sitting on a chair on the end row, and I fainted. And I came to, and I had wood chips stuck to my cheek. So while dreaming, I'm taking the wood chips off my face. And then I realized I wasn't at the tent revival, I was laying on the floor of my house. Did not know how I got there, did not remember fading, did not feel weak or anything. I was laying on there, and it's like I felt excruciating pain. So I looked at my leg, and my leg was going south, and my foot was going east. And it's like, this is not good. Well, as I'm laying there, little black dog, my little dog, is right next to me. And he has a doggy door. And I looked at him and I said, little black dog, go get help. Well, little black dog just sat there. And another thing I noticed is right to my right, I was wearing slippers, new slippers that I got for Christmas. They were perfectly put together right next to me, and I was barefoot. It's like, how did I come out my slippers? Well, I knew, I didn't have my phone, but I knew my phone was on the side table of my recliner. It took every ounce of my energy. I scooted on my butt, and I was able to reach my phone, and I was totally out of breath, so I just laid back on the floor. Whew, okay. Well, the Lopez's lived next door. I didn't know who was home or not. The kids homeschooled, so I figured the kids were home, but I didn't know if Kelly was home. So I text Kelly, call 911, I fainted. Well, there was no response. So I said, I'll just go ahead and call 911. So I called 911. They had, of course, what is your emergency? And I said, I fainted and I think I broke my foot. Well, she started asking me a zillion questions. One of the questions was, is your door locked? And I said, yes. And she says, no problem. And so, she's asking me all like medical questions, my age and all this kind of stuff. I'm answering them. And so she says, the fire department has been dispatched. They'll break down your door. And I said, oh, ma'am, I said, please don't break down my door. I said, my family lives next door. Let me just go ahead and hang up and call them, and they'll come and unlock the door. She says, no, don't hang up on me. Stay with me. Asking me more questions, asking me, did I hit my head? I don't know. Can you move your hips? Are your hips broken? So I wiggled and I said, yes. She says, does anything else hurt? I said, yeah, right below my knee. My leg hurts right there, but I said, I can tell my foot's broken because my foot's going in the wrong direction. It's dislocated. And so she's asked me questions, and she goes, okay, ma'am, the fire department is 1 minute away. They'll come and break down your door. I said, ma'am, don't break down my door. I said, I'm going to hang up and call my family. She goes, hold on. I said, no, I'm going to hang up and call my family. So I hung up. I called Kelly, no answer. And I said, okay, who should I call? I called Joshua. It went straight to voicemail. I'm thinking this is comical, Here, grandma's falling and can't get up and she can't get anybody. So I thought, now who will have their phone? Tyler usually has his phone. Maddie's phone is an extension of her hand. So I said, oh, I'll call Maddie. So I called Maddie, one ring, and she answered. It's like, oh, hallelujah. So she answers the phone, and I said, Maddie, is your mama home? And she said, yes. I said, can you ask her to come over? I fell, and I need help. Yes, Grandma, we'll come over. Well, by the time, it was a split second. It was Maddie, Allie, and Kelly came over at the same time. The fire department was outside, so it worked out perfect. So they came in, two nice men. Just nice. So they were looking at my foot, and they kept talking about a pulse, which I had no idea what they were talking about. Well, within a split second, the EMTs there was two young girls, and the response time was phenomenal. It was so great. So the EMTs are talking to the fire department, and and the whole thing was there's no pulse, there's no pulse, and so they said, okay, trauma. They said we're going to stabilize and transport. So they put this kind of half Cassie looking thing on my foot, which was torture. I mean, it hurt so bad. And then where I was laying was between the back of my recliner and the island, which was a really small section. So Kelly and the girls started moving furniture so they can get there. And they had to move my bar stools, and they didn't have enough room to really to put me on a gurney or anything. So they brought out this thing. It looked like claws. It was two half things metal. And the man said, this is going to hurt, but this is only what we can do. Well, they slid these two metal things under me, and they clamped, and they were able to pick me up and put me on the gurney, which I thought was really cool. In my house, I have steps coming into my house, and I'm kind of big. So I kept apologizing because they had to carry me down my steps, and it was like, this was so embarrassing. So when I got into the ambulance, they said, where would you like to go? Well, I work at North Oaks. And it's kind of embarrassing because people know me there. And you got ratty hair. I had on a robe. And it's like, So my first thing was bring me to St. Tammany in Covington, which I did when I had a heart attack. But it's not fair to Kelly because she's the one who's taking care of me. She's got the blunt of everything. And that's a 20-minute ride back and forth. So I said, well, just bring me to North Oaks, which was split second away. So they brought me to North Oaks. When they brought me through the door, well, on the way there, the EMT told me, she says, every hospital is packed right now. They're boarding people in ED because there's no room. She says, you're going to probably have a wait. She says, I'm just letting you know. Well, when they brought me to the door, the girl who was at the door, I know her. Oh, Miss Kay, are you okay? Well, not really. And she says, take her to room 3. And the EMT said, yeah, just take her right to the room. Well, it was like boom, 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 boom. The doctor came in, and they kept talking about this pulse thing. Well, I realized at the time, if you don't have a pulse, it could be possible leg amputation. It means that there's no blood flow going. So that's when I got a little concerned. What he brought in is called the Doppler, and he used the Doppler on my foot and found the pulse. So that was really great news. So he told me, he says, Miss Lopez, I'm going to have to put you under. I'm going to give you anesthesia because I need to put the foot back where it belongs. The feet's going like that. They're supposed to be like that. So he says, you're not going to feel anything. He says, but I do have to put you under. So they gave me anesthesia, did not feel anything. And when I woke up, my foot was the right way. So they said, taking all kind of tests, blood tests, this kind of stuff. I'm a really hard stick, very hard stick. So it's not that it's painful, but when you get stuck 5, 6 times, it gets a little old. And the worst thing is when they stick that needle in and they start moving around, now that's painful. So he told me that they called the orthopedic surgeon and they have to do surgery. It's called a front and back break. The ankle was broken, and the 2 bones going to the leg was broken. He says my ankle was completely shattered. He says, it was a bad break. So they were able to get me into a room really fast. I mean, went to telemetry. I mean, I had super care. So this was on a Monday. They couldn't do surgery until Wednesday. They also found out that I had a UTI, so they started an IV and started putting antibiotics in an IV, trying to just stabilize me. They had my foot stable. It was painful. I have to admit, it was painful. So surgery was set for Wednesday. They did surgery. They had to put in a plate and a couple of screws, and I'm not sure what else is in there. And then Thursday, they told me I was being discharged. It's like, hello, I'm not ready. So they arranged for me to go to North Oaks Rehabilitation Hospital. So I was transferred there by Acadian. I can't say enough about North Oaks Rehabilitation Hospital, from Dr. Pavlik, who is over the whole hospital, to the nursing supervisors, the RNs, the LPNs, the CNAs, the OTs, PTs, dietary, housekeeping. I'm telling you, I received the best care. They were kind and friendly. It was wonderful, okay? So I was there Thursday. First day was Friday. I had an evaluation from PT and OT, and it was very emotional. PT told me, she says, you need to start making arrangements now. She says, you have steps going into your house? I said, yeah. She says, you need a ramp. She says, you will be here about 8 days and you have someplace to go. She says, you will be in a wheelchair. You will need assistance. And it was like just information. You know, it was a lot. It was a lot. And so I talked to Danny and Kelly, and it's like when you have a trauma like this, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to expect. It was just too much, okay? And then the next day when I actually went for sessions, the question was from my PT, well, did you build a ramp? It was like, that was yesterday you told me. She says, you don't realize you have 8 days. You don't have time to procrastinate. And I said, my mind is just going round and round. I just don't even know what to do right now, okay? And so there was a lot of tears, a lot of tears, a lot of joy, but a lot of tears. So then the case manager came in, and I told her, I said, there's no way I'm going to be ready to leave here in 8 days. First of all, I'm weak. I hadn't eaten like 4 days in the hospital. Now listen to this. I didn't eat 4 days in the hospital, and I gained weight. Tell me life isn't fair. So I started to participate, advocating, I guess a word is, why 8 days? I need longer than 8 days. And I had gone to a group session. Most of the PTOT was one-on-one, but I had gone to a group session. And I don't mean to be ugly, okay? But the lady next to me, she was on Medicaid, and she got 21 days. The other lady on me was younger than 65, so she wasn't on Medicare, and she had, I think, 19 days. And here, I have always been responsible. I've always had health insurance. I've always been very careful with my money. I've saved money. I put money away into a 401k. You know, I'm retired federal government. When I retired, I kept my full federal Blue Cross. I pay full premium. When I turned 65, by law, you have to have Medicare. Okay, at the time, it's like I was just going to get Plan A, which is free, but if you don't get, like the other plans, at the time you sign up, you get a penalty. And I thought, okay, well, later on, if I need another plan, I'll just pay the penalty. Well, the penalty is monthly for the rest of your life. So at the time, so I went ahead and got Plan A and B. I didn't get D because I have prescriptions through Blue Cross. So I had those two plans, and I think, I want to say I'm paying like $180 a month now. So I pay $500 a month in health insurance because I am responsible, and they have let me down. According to Medicare, if you have, quote, a broken ankle, you get 8 days in rehab. They don't look that my ankle is shattered. They don't look that I have congestive heart failure. They don't look that I live alone. They don't look that I have steps in my house. All they look at is some guy in North Dakota who puts in numbers in the computer, and they decide for this injury you get this number of days. Well, I started talking to everybody I can possibly talk to. I started calling people and everything. Well, put out a prayer request, and that's what did it. They extended my 8 days to 12 days. So I figured I have 4 more days. Well, I can tell you, PT and OT was brutal. They pushed and pushed, and I had a really good attitude. I went in there and say, I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be encouraging to others. I'm going to do whatever asked of me. Well, I didn't realize that I thought OT was like helping you go to the bathroom, cook your meals and stuff, but it was a lot of exercise too. Well, I was finding, as long as I was sitting, and I was in a wheelchair all the time, as long as I was sitting, I was fine, but they were trying to teach me my balance and to walk with a walker. So when I would stand up, they had things like I had to hang clothes, I had to fold towels, they had all kind of games and stuff. And I'm saying, am I doing your laundry here? So one time I was standing up and they had three clotheslines and it was little doll clothes. And I was hanging up and I told the girl, I said, I'm getting very weak. So she said, well, sit down. And then I started thinking about all this fatigue and all this lightheadedness I have been having for a while. And I said, would you do me a favor? I said, would you put the blood pressure cuff on me, take my blood pressure sitting down. When I'm standing and I start getting weak, would you take it right then? Let's see what's going on. Well, my blood pressure usually runs about 101 over 50 something. If it's 115, it's high for me. I just have low blood pressure because of the medicine I'm on. Now, my whole life I had high blood pressure, which probably led to me having the heart attack, but now I have low blood pressure. So I was sitting down. She says, okay, you ready? I said, yes. So I got up and I started hanging clothes and I said, I'm getting weak. She said, well, sit down. I said, no, go ahead and take my blood pressure. Well, my blood pressure was 70 over 30. And it's like, this is what the problem is. So we did that quite a few times, and it was low quite a few times. In fact, one night, one of the RNs come to take my blood pressure, and he goes, Miss Lopez. I said, yes. He goes, I think you're dead. I said, I don't think so. I know who you are. He goes, your blood pressure is 58 over 30. He says, I'm going to chart this and everything. So I talked to the head guy, and I said, before I leave here, we need to find out what is going on here. What is my problem? Okay, I can tell you right now, it wasn't solved. It was not solved, okay? So I had 12 days. We had to make decisions. So I talked to Danny and Kelly, my son and daughter-in-law. Kelly has been a trooper. She's a wife. She's a mother of 5 children. She homeschools. They run a business. The lady is busy. She does not stop. She's very intelligent. She has just been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I could not make it without her. Well, we started talking, and I said, just put me in a nursing home. I don't want to be a burden on anybody. And they kept saying, this is only a temporary thing. According to the doctors, I can't put any weight on my foot for 6 weeks, but in 6 weeks I will be walking and I'll be back to normal. And it's like, I can't go home. My house is small. I can't use a wheelchair in my house. What else do we do? Okay? Assisted living, neither of my insurance pays for it. I don't qualify for skilled nursing. I said, get me a hospital bed. We can put it in my living room, and I'll just live in there. I don't qualify for a hospital bed because it's all back to all I have is a broken ankle. So, we went round and round, made phone calls, and it's like the healthcare system has let me down. I've paid in this all my life. I need it now, and there's nothing for me to do. So Kelly started making calls. The case manager suggested it's called respite, and it's like a short-term assisted living. So there was only 2 places in Hammond area. Kelly visited both. One place she really liked, they had no available rooms. The other one is where I am. It's called Phoenix of Hammond, and it's a pretty new place. They hold 120 residents. Right now, I think they have like 58. But the other facility in this area is closing, so they're getting in 23 people this week. They have independent living, assisted living, and memory care. So they looked into assisted living, and Danny and Kelly decided that this is the best place for me. If I come here for approximately 30 to 45 days, I should be totally fine by then, and I could go home, okay? It makes me cry because my son's paying for this. And it's expensive. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm going to be very honest on this whole tape. The rent is $3,600 a month, which that includes utilities and everything. That includes 3 meals a day, but it's still high. There's a one-time processing fee of $3,000, It doesn't matter if I stay here for 30 days, if I stay here for 30 years. It's a $3,000 fee. I think that's ridiculous, okay? And because I need assistance, I'm not supposed to transfer like from my chair to the wheelchair, my chair to the bed, my chair to the toilet by myself. I need assistance. There's a lot I can't do. I can't get dressed by myself. Now, I haven't gotten dressed in 16 days. I've been in pajamas, and my leg, the cast is 2.5 pounds, and it's huge. It goes from my toes up to my knee, and it's just, I mean, it's like I have to lift up my leg. I don't know, I have to wear clothes today. I don't know how I'm going to get it in. I told Kelly, just try to find me the biggest pants legs you can find and stuff in my closet. But even like putting on my underwear and stuff, I needed help. I mean, I just can't do it, okay? And so they have 3 level of cares here, level 1, 2, and 3. So the place came out to the rehab to evaluate me, and I'm a 2. I don't know if 1's worse or 3's worse. I don't know how it is, but I'm a 2. And for a level 2, it's $800 extra a month. So this is costing them up to $10,000 for 45 days. And I am I'm forever grateful. I mean, I love my boy. And I told him, I said, Daddy, you have a family. You don't need to be spending this money on me. He goes, Mama, you are my family. I love that boy. And like I said before, Kelly has been a trooper. She's the one. She's come every day. You know, Danny goes to work. She's come every day. She has brought me stuff. She has run around crazy. I know she is overwhelmed. And I know the word spent, which I never use it. Kelly is spent. Okay, well, yesterday was moving day, Monday, January 16th. And that was, you know, when you get discharged, you have to wait for your discharge papers. You have to wait for your medicine. You have to, I got to ring the bell because I graduated. I was determined. Oh, tell me about tricky. Let me tell you about this. I guess it was Friday.